How do you start your day? Is it a frantic rush to check your phone, or is it with a clear, calm sense of purpose? The ancient Stoics figured out that how you kick off your morning really sets the tone for everything else. So let's dive into a super simple blueprint, inspired by their wisdom, that's going to help you build a much more intentional day. It really all starts with this idea from, of all people, a Roman emperor, Marcus Aurelius. And listen, this isn't just some nice, fluffy thought. It's a huge shift in perspective. The Stoics really believed that when you just stop for a second and recognize what a privilege it is to have another day, you automatically start focusing on what actually matters. So, what does a Stoic morning actually look like? It's not about being cold or emotionless or anything like that. It's really about consciously building a mindset of purpose. The whole foundation is understanding the difference between what you can control and what you can't, and then pouring all your energy into the things you can. What we're really talking about here is a daily practice, right? It's like training a muscle. You're training your mind to prioritize your internal world, your character, how you respond to things, your integrity, over all the chaotic, unpredictable stuff happening out there. That's how you build that inner fortress of peace and resilience everyone talks about. Now, I know this might sound a little heavy, but it's incredibly practical, I promise. The Stoics weren't morbid, they were just realists. By taking a brief moment to remember that our time here is limited, we create this healthy sense of urgency. It just immediately cuts through all the little trivial distractions and helps us ask the most important question of all. Am I going to spend this precious day wisely? Okay, let's get into our first actionable step, and you'll see how this all builds. Journaling. It was a cornerstone of Stoic practice. Think about Marcus Aurelius' famous book, Meditations. That thing started as his own private journal. This isn't about writing a masterpiece. It's just about having a really honest conversation with yourself to clear your head. And the method is so simple, but so powerful. First up, you do a mind sweep. Just get all that junk, all that clutter, out of your head and onto the page. No judgment. Next, you anchor yourself in gratitude. This is huge for fighting our brain's natural tendency to focus on what's missing. And finally, you ask that killer self-reflection question. This isn't about beating yourself up, it's just about awareness, making sure you're still on the path you want to be on. And that leads us perfectly into step 2. And honestly, this is a pivotal Stoic idea. We are totally obsessed with goals, but the Stoics focused on something way more powerful and completely within our control: our intentions. It's a fundamental shift from worrying about outcomes to focusing on our character. And this slide just lays it out perfectly. A goal might be something like, I'm going to close that big deal at work. But that depends on your clients, the market, a dozen things you just can't control. An intention, though? An intention is, today I will be diligent, honest, and persistent. See the difference? Your intention is 100% in your power, no matter what happens. So the question to ask yourself each morning isn't what am I going to achieve? It's who am I going to be? Do you intend to be patient when you're stuck in traffic, compassionate with that colleague who's driving you nuts, courageous in that tough conversation you've been avoiding? You define your character for the day, and that becomes your true measure of success. Okay, on to step 3. It's time to forge your mental armor. The Stoics knew that a life without any challenges is a life without any growth. So they built resilience through 2 really key practices: embracing voluntary discomfort and learning to love whatever fate throws at you. And listen, this isn't about self-punishment, it's about training. By choosing these small, controlled discomforts, you're basically vaccinating yourself against life's bigger, uncontrolled hardships. You're proving to yourself that your happiness doesn't depend on all these external comforts, and that gives you this incredible sense of freedom and strength. Think about the last time something really went wrong. Maybe a project at work failed, you got some bad news. What was that immediate question that popped into your head? For so many of us, it's this one right here, a question that automatically casts us as the victim in the story. But a Stoic performs this little bit of mental jujitsu. They reframe the question completely. And that simple shift, it moves you from a position of being a passive victim to being actively empowered. This is the very essence of what they called Amor Fati, loving your fate. It's not just about accepting what happens, but embracing it as the very material you need to grow stronger. All right, last but definitely not least, we're at step 4. You've set the stage for a great day, but how do you maintain that perspective when the chaos of the day actually hits? The key is finding these little moments of stillness through mindfulness. The Stoic approach to mindfulness is really about detachment. Instead of getting swept away by every single anxious thought, you practice just observing them, like they're leaves floating down a stream. You're the observer on the riverbank, not the leaf caught in the current. And it's in that space between you and your thought that you can choose to respond with reason, instead of just reacting on impulse. This quote from Marcus Aurelius just perfectly wraps the whole philosophy up. The ultimate goal of all these practices is to build that inner citadel of peace. It's about refusing to become an enemy to your own tranquility by letting other people or outside events dictate how you feel inside. So, look, this isn't just some interesting theory to think about. It's a call to action. You don't have to do everything all at once. Just pick one. Just one. Are you going to try the 3-step journal or set one clear intention for your day? Or maybe, just maybe, you'll take that cold shower. The path to a more purposeful life really does begin with a single step, taken tomorrow morning. What's it going to be?